Right, okay. So last week we looked at sketching graphs, and we looked at sketching graphs in the form y equals, ax squared plus bx plus c. And now we're going to look at a slightly different kind of question where we're asked to sketch this graph. So this graph is y equals x take 3 squared plus 1. And you'll notice this is in a different form. This is actually in the completed square form. And you may recall how to find the turning point. So if you've got a graph in the form y equals x minus a squared plus b, then the turning point would actually be 3. Oh, sorry, I'm answering the question there. The turning point would actually be the point AB. So the point AB would be the turning point of this. So as I sort of gave away there, the turning point for this particular question, A would be 3 and B would be 1. Okay, so again, we're just seeing that this matches this form, x minus a plus b. It is in that form. And so because of that, we can work out the turning point really quickly. Now, the turning point, if you recall, is if you've got a parabola like this, the turning point is here. It's where it turns around. Now, you either get a maximum turning point or a minimum turning point. So the minimum turning point in this case is this turning point here, because that is the smallest that this parabola ever gets. It starts up way, way up here, really big. It comes down, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. Then the smallest it ever is this point here, and then it goes back up, 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 up. And again, you can imagine the opposite here. It starts very small, it comes up, and the biggest this parabola ever gets is this turning point here, the maximum turning point. So we've been asked to sketch this. So we should probably make sure we know whether it's a U shape or whether it's going to be an N shape. And again, if you recall, that is decided by if we've got the graph in this form, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, right? If that's the form we're in, it's actually the a that determines whether it's a U shape or an N shape. It's this coefficient. If it's positive, again, this is a recap from last week. If it's positive, that means it's going to be a U shape. If it's a negative, that means it's an N shape. So just remember, whether x squared is a positive or a negative number determines whether it's going to be an N-shaped or a U-shaped graph. Now, in this case, we can look at the question in front of us. If I was to expand this double bracket, what would my coefficient of x squared be once I've done x times x? Would it be positive or would it be negative? In fact, let's actually just do it. So let's expand this bracket. So I've got y equals x minus 3 squared plus 1. Let's expand this bracket. X times x is x squared. X times minus 3 is minus 3x. Minus 3 times x is minus 3x. And minus 3 times minus 3 is positive 9. And then I've got plus 1. Okay, so I've expanded that bracket here, and then I've still got a plus 1 at the end. And then I can simplify that, of course. That's x squared. Minus 3x, take 3x is going to be minus 6x. And then obviously 9 plus 1 is going to be 10. Okay, so we've got a couple of useful bits of information now. We know what a is. A, the number in front of x squared, is 1, positive 1. So because a is positive, we're going to draw a U-shaped graph. We know the turning point, and so we know the turning point of our graph is going to be 3, 1, and we know that's a minimum turning point because it's a U-shape. Okay, so in fact, I think I'm going to start doing this sketch right now. So I'll draw some axes. I'm going to decide where 3, 1 is going to be. So 3, 1 would be 3 along, 1 up. So we're going to call this point here the point 3, 1. Just going to label it like that. And we know it's going to be a U shape. So I'm just going to draw a nice U shape here. Okay. Now there's one more thing we need to plot. Okay, and that would be the y-intercept. Okay, now that's the point where the parabola goes through the y-axis. I might label my axes here as well, x and y. So what is this point? Well, luckily, the y-intercept, you'll notice all the way through, even when we looked at linear graphs, C is the y-intercept. C is where we cross the y-axis. So which one of these is C? That's ax squared, that's b, minus 6 is b here. Okay? So y is 10. It goes through the y-axis at 10. Now, for this particular question, that would get you the mark. So if you look up the past paper, what this is from, this would get you the full 3 marks. Strictly speaking, because it wants the coordinate, we will write the coordinate in here for this point. This is the point 0, 10. So just to finish it off sort of properly, dot our i's and cross our t's, we're going to put 0, 10 as our coordinate there. And that's the point in which it crosses the y-axis. Okay? And I'll sort of leave it to you. Why have I not labelled the roots of this graph? Okay, that's all from me today.